simplifying brackets, the first thing you have to do is that you have to think that this x here has to be multiplied by everything that's inside the bracket. And you do it one step at a time. So the first step you have to do here is you multiply this x by the plus 2x. There's no sign in the front there, so that means it's a plus. Okay? So x times 2x would be, you've got to imagine that in front of this x there's actually a 1. I don't write it in. If there's no number there, it means it's a 1. So you've got 1x multiplied by 2x. 1 times 2 will give us 2. And x times x will give us x squared. You've now multiplied the first term, so you can ignore that now. You've still got to multiply this 1x by your next set of numbers, which is plus 4. So 1x times plus 4, 1 times 4 plus 4 will be 4. And x times 1 will give us x. So we'll have this one simplified will equal 2x squared plus 4x once you've expanded the brackets. If I was to give you this expression and I want you to simplify it and put the brackets back in, what do I do? Well, I have to notice what is common in both of these terms. And I would simplify this in a different way than it's done up here. Because I can see here I've got a factor of 2, and here I've got a factor of 2 as well. Here I've got an x, and here I've got x squared. So if I was to put the brackets back in, I would put 2x outside the front. 2x is common to both of these terms. I can take 2x out here, and to get back to my 2x squared, I just put in an x here. Because 2x times x gives me 2x squared. So you're taking out of the front, and it's like a multiply factor. Okay? What can I multiply this x by to get back to my original number? 2x multiplied by x will give me my 2x squared. Okay, then I do the same thing here. If I've got 2x out the front here, what do I have to have inside my brackets to get back to 4x? Well, 2x times 2 would give me 4x. 2 times 2x would give me 4x. So if I was to put the brackets back in, this is how I would do it. I'd look at what is common in this expression. Here I've got 2 times 1, but here I've got 2 times 2. So both of these expressions have a 2 in. They both have a factor of 2. They also both have a factor of x. This one means x times x, and this one means x. So this number is common, and this letter is common. And anything that's common goes outside the front. So getting used to expanding brackets and putting brackets back in is very important in algebra. So let's take the next one. That was how we do the first one. Let's look at our next one. And you've taken far too nice numbers because I'm almost all with positive numbers, so we'll do a couple of other ones after that. Does it matter if I put the x at the front or the x at the back? No, doesn't matter at all. So this is exactly the same as x times 2x plus 1. You still do exactly the same thing. Anything outside the bracket must be multiplied by everything inside the bracket. It means I've got to multiply first the x by the 2x, and I have to multiply the x by the plus 1. So let's do it. X multiplied by 2x, well, x times 1 would be 2, and x times x would give us x squared. So the first term would be 2x squared. I've now multiplied that term, I can forget it. Then I multiply x by plus 1. X by plus 1 would give us plus x. 1 times x would give us plus x. So that's it. And we get exactly the same thing here. X times 2x would give us our 2x squared. X times plus 1 would give us plus x. We get exactly the same expression no matter where the x is, before the bracket or after the bracket, it doesn't matter. If I was going to then factorize this, and I would have to look and say, okay, what have I got in my terms? In this term I have 2 times x plus an x here. So what is common in both of these terms? Well, here's an x and here's an x. So that's what has to go outside the front. Put the x outside the front. and I put whatever is not outside the front into the bracket. So here I've used up this x, so in what's left over is 2x, and here I've used up this x there, so I've only got a plus 1 there, because 1 times x will get me back to plus x. So that's how we expand the brackets and put the brackets back in. Let's try the next one. X times 2x plus y. Again, multiply the x by everything inside the brackets, first by this one, then by this one. X times 2x would give us 2x squared. 1 times 2 is 2, x times x is x squared. And x times plus y would give us xy. Xy means x times y. If I was then going to put brackets back into this, I have to think, what does my expression contain? X squared means 2 times x, and xy means x times y. What is common in this? There's only the x that's common in both expressions. So that I would put outside the front of my brackets, and then I would put what's left over. I've used this x, so I have 2x left. I've used this x, so I have 1y left. Okay? And if I expanded that, I would get back to that. So the important thing with putting brackets in is that whenever you expand them, you have to get back to your original equation. And it should look as it did when we started, and it does. So we know we've done it right. So you've always got this little check with when you put brackets in and factorize. Right, now we've got one with minus signs, finally, because here it's important to remember your minus multiplication. That a plus times a plus is always positive. And a minus times a minus is always positive as well. And if you wonder why, I've made a video on that, on why a minus times a minus is positive. So the easy way to remember is same sign, always positive. Okay? But if you've got different signs, a plus times a minus or a minus times a plus, the answer is always negative. Okay? If you have different signs of a plus times a minus, you're always going to get a minus answer. A minus times a plus, you're always going to get a minus answer too. So, different signs. So if the signs are different, the answer is always negative. And this is only for multiplication and division. Okay, not if you've got a string of numbers, then you add and subtract them as normal. So now we have 5y times minus 2y minus 4 plus y plus 3. And they want you to expand that. So we have to first multiply 5y by minus 2y. 5y is positive and minus 2y is negative. So we have a positive number multiplied by a negative number. We know the answer is going to be negative. Positive 5y multiplied by negative 2y. Okay, then we just do it as normal. What's 5 times 2? 10. What's y times y? Y squared. So now we've done that expression. We'll cross it out. Now we do the next expression. 5y times minus 4. That's a positive number multiplied by a negative number. We know that the answer is going to be negative. Then we do the next step. Multiply your numbers through. 5 times 4 is going to be 20. 20 what? 20 y's. Y times 1 giving us y. We don't actually need the brackets in, so we can take that. Then we add, what have we got left? Well, we've got a plus y here. In front of this bracket is actually just like a 1. So when we expand that bracket out, we're doing plus 1 times y giving us plus y, and plus 1 times plus 3 giving us plus 3. So that there's also a 1 in front of that bracket, you can say, and you have to multiply it as well. So 1 times y giving us y, and 1 times plus 3 giving us plus 3. Okay, so now we have to simplify it. What do we get now? We get that we have minus 10y squared minus 20y plus 1y. Well, minus 20 plus 1 would give us minus 19. Why? Why? We've got one yacht, and we take away 20. How many would we be missing? We'd be minus 19 yachts down. If we had one yacht that we could sell, and we got an order for 20, we'd need to build 19 more yachts. Okay, we're 19 yachts down. And then plus 3 at the end. Can we add the minus 10y squareds to minus 19y's? No, you can never add with different terms in here. Okay? So y squareds and y's can never be added together. You have to keep them separately. Y squared is not at all the same term. This one can be thought of like a unit of area. You can't add a unit of area to a unit of length. So you have to keep your y squared. So this would be the answer to that one. And if we were to factorize that one back out again, let's see what we could do here. We've got 10 and we've got 19, so we can't really get a factor there. What we could do is we could take out minus y in the front here, and then put in a bracket. Minus y would give us, we would get 10y here. Because minus y times 10y would give us minus 10y squared. And here we would have plus 19. Why would we get plus 19? Because if we multiplied minus y times plus 19, we'd get minus 19y. Then our brackets have to finish, because this term has no y in it, so it can't be included in our brackets. So it would factorize, plus 3. It would factorize back to this expression in the simplest term. Minus y multiplied by 10y plus 19 plus 3.